Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Painless Universal, a conversation with myself and Welsh. Today I'll be talking to Dominic Drew. Dominic Drew is a fantastic lady who changes and motivates individuals on how we view life, how we find success in what we do. She's achieved greatness in really transforming the meaning of success in our life, or how so many people are successful but yet unsuccessful in love. It's always a hard balance. How do you do both? How are you such a high achiever, doing so well in what you do, but yet unsuccessful in that side of things? She's here to address that issue. And let me give you a little bit about Dominic's background. So Dominic works in person and relationship coaching. What's fascinating about her is her direct approach, which is unlike anything else in the industry. She's able to solve, issues where people have struggled for decades, helping them break through self-sabotaging patterns in a matter of weeks. With 18 years of experience and countless testimonies that speaks for themselves, there's no way you'll walk away from her unchanged. So let's meet Dominic and understand how can we balance the two. How can we all be successful and also be successful in love? Because there's so much issue about loneliness, because loneliness is out there. People are really suffering from this terrible issue of dealing with being so lonely when you come back from your success to your home. Meet Dominic. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Painless Universal Conversation with myself and Welsh. As I've said previously in my introduction, Dominic, thank you so much for joining me. I did describe a little bit about what you do and how you talk a lot about success, and not just success in work, but success in also relationship. Today's topic is something that I really felt we needed to talk about. Reason being is that there's so many people out there that I know that are successful, doing very well, but on the other hands of them, they're very lonely when they come back home because they just haven't been able to balance both. But before we dive into that, from everyone who don't know you, could you just tell us a little bit about who is Dominic Drew and a little bit about your background?
Absolutely. So as you said, my name is Dominey. I have been teaching the work that I now teach for about 18 years. I started it when I was 19. I was a mess. 19-year-old me or 25-year-old me looking at me now wouldn't even recognize myself. I was just really wrapped in insecurity and a lot of self-loathing, self-hatred, a lot of self-doubt, projections on the world. And as a result, my life was incredibly difficult. Outwardly, not so much. I was raised, I had a great childhood, I had all the sorts of things. It wasn't that kind of trauma. All the trauma for me was quite inward. Mm-hmm. And it got to a point, in my late teens where I was really deeply suicidal, actually. And I remember, I feel emotion coming up as I say it. I remember thinking to myself, I can't live with myself like this. I can't tolerate myself. And I remember having the thought, I want to go home, while I was sitting in my home. I didn't even know what that meant, but it felt true. And I discovered this work when I was 19. I went to a workshop of a modality called pathwork, which is not very well known, but is incredibly powerful work. And I did one workshop and I was like, I'm in. And I signed up for a 5-year program. And then I did another 4-year program of intensive energy healing. And I just, I did this work intensively. I got my master's degree after that, because what I realized is the process just solves every single problem you can come up with, because it's not topical. It's about what in you is causing the problem. And in that way, it's really kind of a one-stop shop of you can see everything in your life as the sort of psycho-spiritual self-sabotage, if you solve that, there is no problem that can't beat that in a way. And so I began this incredible transformative journey. And I just kept changing and changing and changing, and not changing who I was, but becoming more of who I am, more fearlessly and really unapologetically authentic, to the point now where I'm not only able to attract relationships and keep relationships when I want them, but I am just completely full of self-love. You know, if someone tells me they think I'm ugly or stupid, I go, oh, okay, you know, that's a fair point. You know, I'm sure you got some points. You know, it doesn't hurt me anymore. I've just creating this new kind of expression of the word, this new program, and I created a chapter called The Art of Invincible Happiness, because that's really what it's about, is I can now be happy, and my happiness is no longer dependent on you and how you respond to me. And so it creates this incredible, really vibrant way of living life. It's a lot more effortless as well. And so that's really where it's taken me over the years.
You know, this is an incredible story, because you meet so many people. I'm sure in your field, you meet so many people who are doing very well. And one of the biggest challenges that they just, in their own personal world, they could take all the criticism of people telling them this is at work or you're not that great at work. But when it comes to their personal life, they just don't know how to say, let me separate the two. That person is not work related. Let me deal with this, not the way I will communicate to that message at home. How do you teach people the separation? Because I think if you don't know how to separate that, you will always be treating everything as an entrepreneur. How do you do that?
That's such a great question. So the person that you just described, who is resilient through being not even just being criticized, because it's whether you're getting it's invincible regardless of whether you're getting positive or negative input. You are resilient through work, but then in your personal life, you take it personally, right? You believe that reflects you. So what that tells me is that particular person is very confident and comfortable. They've accepted who they are with work. So with that self-acceptance inward, nobody can, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. My self-love isn't dependent on whether or not you love me or approve of me or whatever. But then in their personal life, if someone comes in with a criticism, it hits something that's there. So no, your feelings in general are not in any way reflective of the outside world. So if you have an underlying confidence in your intelligence, right? And I say, you're incredibly stupid. You will go, oh, do you think so? And you will forget that it's said, or you might be like, this girl told me I was stupid. It was like a really weird thing to say in the middle of an interview. You know what I mean? But it wouldn't hurt you.
No, yeah.
So you carry an underlying belief about yourself that you are stupid, and I mean even a teensy tiny one, then it will ping that what you are already carrying. So it's not that anybody says that you're stupid. You don't actually care what anybody says. But if you already believe something and then it's confirmed outside of you, that's what actually hurts. So in my work, what I do is I help to identify and clear all the things you're holding. And I mean all the things you're holding in yourself, such that none of those things any longer resonate. Because even if you grew up thinking you were stupid from the time you were 3, and many people do, then somebody will say the exact same thing that would have triggered you 10 years ago. And you've just been like, yeah, that's actually not true about me, but I respect your opinion. Just totally new.
That's amazing. Wow. And, going into a meeting, one of the things I've noticed with humans is that confidence, and success has a lot to do. People ask me, how would I define people who are successful? I would say they have a lot of confidence. They're able to try out things, and even if it doesn't work, they're happy that didn't work, and I'll try again. No, it didn't work, I will keep trying. You've seen you've coached so many people who have not got that success of confidence. How do you tell a person who has always been told he's stupid, is not good enough, that when you see this person, you look at him and you say, gosh, this person is really smart, but I just need to boost his confidence. How do you bring that out in a person? What are your key strategy? Like, I'm not saying to them, just to someone who's wanting to say, okay, because none of this is overnight success. So you have to, obviously, it's a process. But what would the key thing you would first look out for the person to get them going from A to at least A before A, medium A to B?
Yeah, that's another really great question. So confidence is not really something to teach, I would say. I would say that's more of an opinion as opposed to a sort of universal truth. For me, that's not something, in other words, if you have low confidence and I tell you that or low confidence in your ability and I say you're really capable, you flat out won't believe me because I'm not stronger than you are. Right? So the same thing as if I tell you you're stupid and you don't believe it, if I tell you you're smart and you don't believe it, you also won't take it in. So what I do is I go down to the source of the issue. And I think this is different than how a lot of coaches operate. Because I think a lot of coaches go, no, Anne, you're really wonderful. Like, what if you could, and imagine you doing these wonderful things. But the fact of the matter is that since you were 5, 3, 0 years old, you've lived a certain way. And that creates a strong template. Now, the template is changeable, but in order to change it, you need to see that there is, in fact, a template. If you just contradict it, it might work or it might not, but it usually doesn't. And then there's another thing you failed at, and there you've proved yourself right, and your confidence goes down even further. So what I help people do is to look, okay, cool. So you have no confidence. First of all, I will never contradict you. Oh, you think you're stupid? Oh, okay, cool. How long have you been stupid, right? When do you first remember feeling stupid? Oh, okay. It was when I was 3 and I was on the playground and, Katie with the pigtails pushed me and told me I was stupid. I mean, there's so much trauma that happens in the school life, often it's parents, but often sometimes in the schoolyard as well. And we go back to that moment because what happens in that moment, children, when they experience something, they generalize their life experience to the entire world. So if Katie said I was stupid when you were 3, 4, or 5, then I am a stupid person, right? Or if mom said men are awful because she was going through a divorce, I then implemented men are awful. And now I'm 39 and I'm single. And I don't know why I'm single. And it's because you have this underlying belief, or men aren't safe maybe, or, whatever it is that you believe or that gets lodged. And so through that experience, even though it was just one small experience, it gets lodged in the subconscious. And you grow up as if it were true. So you're creating that template of who I am. I am Anne, and I am good at this, but I'm not good at this, and I'm and you have a structure of who you think you are. And who you think you are and who people think you are is actually quite different from who you actually are. There are similarities, but it's not exactly the same. And so when they generalize that whole experience, it shows up as what I call an image. And an image is a generalized statement. Men are dangerous. Men don't want to commit. That's a popular one, right? Life isn't fair. These sort of huge generalizations, or everything I try to do fails. So it's this big generalized statement, and it comes from childhood, because even if you fail at most things, there's no way you fail at everything. Right? You woke up successfully this morning, you brushed your teeth, that went well. You know what I mean? So it's an assumption. And none of this is a problem except that we don't know we're carrying them. So the first thing I do is go back, find the place where you made that decision, and that's the source of the issue. When you change that, everything that issue has led to clears at once.
Wow, that is a very unique way of looking at it, and it's not something I've really, I think you're absolutely right. Everyone does it different. Everyone probably have a normal standardized template, but I think you really hit the nail, and probably 18 years of doing this really helps as well. A topic I was reading in the news the other day was loneliness. Mm-hmm. And loneliness affects people. I used to think it was just normal people, people who didn't have jobs. But the tendency is that more people who are successful tend to be more very lonely. Mm. And I thought this topic is so important because it's such a pain that people bear when they get back home, not knowing what to do with themselves. Or if a wife passes on and they're by themselves, now they're living at home by themselves, they don't know how to reach out again. So as someone who's successful, and you've been in this thing to bring people out again, to reach out to the world again, and when you've not done this, this is, you've probably been living with your wife or your husband for many, many years. All of a sudden he's passed, you're good at your job, you don't have to make friends there, but to make friends in your personal life is not something you're used to.
Mm.
What would be your way forward in that kind of circumstance?
The first thing I would say is, I think a lot of people would tell you to sort of try to move past the pain, or to go out and meet people to kind of compensate against the discomfort and the pain. And as humans, we tend to do that. When something feels uncomfortable, we avoid it. Yeah. And the problem is that discomfort has a lot to teach us. Actually, let me rephrase that. The real problem is that discomfort is inevitable. It is just, that's going to happen. So there is pain in life that's inevitable. So even if, you work with someone, you solve whatever issue is keeping you lonely, you meet the love of your life, at some point, as you said, one of you is going to die, right? Terrible things still happen. I don't even know if they're terrible. They're just natural, right? They just happen, but they create pain. So what people will tend to do is try to push that pain away. And again, the pain, similarly to if I tell you that you're stupid and it hurts, is carried within you. So wherever you go in life, it goes with you. It cannot be avoided. And it shouldn't be, because it's a really beautiful method of self-growth. So a lot of people, when they lose a spouse, especially if they're very successful, and I think a lot of successful people who feel loneliness probably do so because they need to keep really strong boundaries to be the head, to be really successful at work. People want things from you often, should I invest in that? Should I not invest in that? What's the benefit of that software versus that software? There's a lot of decisions to be made, and you need to be able to stand in your power to do so. And so that can distort the things that we're naturally good at. We distort as defenses. So if I naturally stand in my power quite comfortably, I will distort to like overdoing my power and maybe holding really strong boundaries, or maybe having a hard time really softening and becoming vulnerable. Yeah. And so they will tend to, so to go back to your question of what should someone do in that situation, they really need to look inward. The grief, people rush through grief. So if this is something that is uncomfortable for you, whatever the discomfort is, just go inward and look directly at it, because that's the reality of the universe, right? The reality is, part of me wants to go out and date, and then part of me is afraid to do that. Okay, cool. Eventually, I want to go out and date, so I'm just going to talk to the part of me that doesn't. So part of me that doesn't, what do you have to say? Oh, it's not safe. You're going to get rejected. You're not going to have time because you're busy and you're successful. That was one that I had to let go of, was like, oh, if I meet the person, that I want to spend the rest of my life with, how will I have time to run my business? That was an image that I carried. It's a popular one, but it's not accurate. Lots of people have amazing relationships and still manage to do this. So if it is physically possible, then, and you're deciding that it can't, that it isn't, then you're deciding that, and there's a little piece of self-sabotage.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
That makes absolutely sense. And I like your tagline, succeed in love like you do in business, in whatever you do. Why did you pick that tagline, like succeed in love like you do in business? So what exactly would that mean to you?
To me, it is, people who have so much success in so many areas. They have friends, they're fulfilled in their work, they're financially secure, they have all the things they want, and yet there's still that emptiness or a little bit of, not quite, I just need this one, I just want this one thing, because that's a really strong pain point. And it's really confusing because you're clearly a competent person. You can do all the things. Remember, the problem isn't with doing, it's with how you're being, because that's actually what's in sort of what's directly creating your, directly affecting and impacting your life experience. And so to be able to find as much success in your heart, in that fulfillment, as you do in business. And I'm someone who's incredibly fulfilled, well, on both levels. But in my business, I'm just, it's the love of my life. I incarnated to do this work. I love to teach. I love to see the transformations that people make. And so it's wildly fulfilling. And so to help people who have a similar experience or love their work or are successful in their work to really find that success in a personal way, that just really speaks to me as well.
Dominic, when you first started this process, was it daunting for you to go on this journey and say, this is something I'm now comfortable going out there to help other people? Well, I know you said you had this issue in the past, but as you went on this journey, what changed you? What did you notice as you went on the journey? You know, because like my journey is the pain journey, and mine is chronic illness pain. And every time I go on deep journey, I find different things about myself that really challenges me, especially when I have to deal with it for others. With your own circumstance, how do you deal with your journey? Because obviously doing this, you always have to reflect on your journey to make sure you're balancing your own part of your own life compared to others. How do you deal with all that?
You know, that's such a good question. Was it daunting? In a way, it was daunting in the sense that you're really challenging things about yourself that you've always assumed to be true. And that's always scary because, like, the fact of the matter is you're like facing some of your worst fears. Now, mind you, your worst fears aren't accurate, but to you in the moment, it feels like you're risking just everything. And so that part is scary. But at the same time, there was never any doubt in me because I saw it work, and then I've seen it work, and I've seen it work. And now I've seen this process work thousands of times, and I have never seen it not work. So I carry that confidence, you could call it, just a knowing, really. It is like, you're going to be fine. You know, I could see, I know how it looks from your perspective. Wouldn't project in that way on a client, but, you know, I hear you, and I've got you, you know, is the kind of space that I hold for my clients. And as far as teaching it, I'm a natural teacher. Everything I've ever learned, I learned to teach immediately. I was actually a competitive equestrian. I rode horses for 25 years, and I taught that. I learned ballroom dancing, and I taught that immediately. I mean, I took one semester, and then I went to go certified in teaching. Like, I just always go right to facilitating because that's just really what I love to do. So I would say, I think I knew from the very first weekend that I wanted to teach this, that I want to teach this work. It was just too powerful not to share.
Oh my goodness. No, because I think this is the difficult thing, is that a lot of people find it and struggle to find, okay, what is it what I love to do and how do I find success in it? But you've managed to balance that up. Not only are you enjoying what you do, but also you've managed to find success in what you do. In our final question, you know, there's so many people who are out there struggling from everything that's going on. With the COVID-19, they're struggling to find the balance is not just in love. The balance is also in personal life. How do you deal with the trauma? How do you deal with the difficulties going on in life and still remain hopeful and successful in whatever you have to do? In your message of hope for people who are out there seeking your, who will be seeking your advice, because I'm sure this is a time where a lot of people are confused because they've been so successful at work, but now they're coming home, working from home, they're finding it challenging because their life has always been on the road, and now they're having to spend lots of time with their partners who they've loved, but not sure how they've loved their partners. And now they're spending lots of time with them. And that balance is not there. They need that success guidance. How do I deal with my partner? Now I'm being successful at work, but I have to also bring that back home so that marriage doesn't end in a divorce, or our partnership doesn't end in a divorce. Whatever we're going through doesn't end in a bad way for the kids. What would be your real call out and helpful advice that you would say, or message of hope to people in that position?
I would say if they are able to release any beliefs or images they have around how a successful family needs to look. The fact of the matter is, I'm taking just this hypothetical you just gave me. Someone was out, very successful. They were traveling all the time, not uncommon with successful people. Now they come back and they're just with their family or their partner all the time. You don't have to be with your partner all the time. You can get another apartment around the corner, and you could go there and work for 3 days at a time and come back and spend the next 4 days happily. Maybe you do that for a year or two and you don't need to anymore, or you don't want to anymore. You don't need to be glued together. I think there's this image in society that we need to be oh, well, you don't love you. Oh my God, you have separate. Oh, are you getting divorced? No, we're happy. We're happy. And if we're not happy doing this, then what we tend to do is, oh, there's something wrong with me because other people are happy doing this. Not everybody is happy doing this as far as like being together all the time. You may have a belief around, oh, a successful marriage, look, fill in the blank. Any fill in the blank that you put there is an image that you're carrying, because a happy marriage can look like an absolute, literally infinite number of things. So if what you're feeling is crunch, then putting pressure on yourself to then deal with the crunch is going to add more crunch. And so it's the opposite of the thing you need to do. Instead, you need to have a really realistic conversation with your partner. Hey, listen, I love you so much. I'm definitely not going anywhere. And I'm feeling, like this is a little much for me. What would you think if I, went here one night a week? Or if however you want to design it is perfectly fine. And that whatever works for you. Listening to your body, okay? When does your stress go up and when does your stress go down? And I don't think the stress is necessarily even bad for you. If you see it positively, it tends to actually have positive effects on you, which is kind of fascinating and miraculous. But notice when you get uncomfortable. I was fine with this level of space because we were traveling. Great, so keep that level of space. Every other week, you leave for a week and you work from an Airbnb at the beach, or whatever you want to do. But the reason I think people don't do that is they go, oh, that means your marriage is on the rocks, or that means you don't love each other. And it's like, you have something that works. The male doesn't need to be the breadwinner. Maybe you're more comfortable being the breadwinner and he's more comfortable staying home playing with the kids. Great. That's how it works for you. Wonderful. And so trust your body and communicate as best you can. That is, your body is your direct guidance to what is good for you and what is not good for you. So if ever you need to, boy, I'm feeling really stressed. Great. Stop. What is causing the stress, and address it, and don't be afraid to do so. And your partner will hear you in that place.
Wow. That is amazing, because that whole concept of X has to be like this, everything has to be this way, is something that we are all born with. And
Yes.
thing that we have all been told that it has to be like this. And this
self-sabotage right there.
Yes, and this is something that we're not sure why we've been told this, but we've all just believed it and adapted that to our lifestyle without even questioning it. This is something that I'm so glad the way you answer that question, because every day I fight that battle of understanding what X or what this should be and what society has told me. And I never forget when I was much younger, someone said, the success of life is that you go to university, then you get married, then you have kids. These are the only 3 things that you could take of you being successful. And for me, I believe that, and I just try to achieve every single one of it. But is that truly the fine definition of success? And this is what they're telling so many young girls and young men. And this is they get confused.
It is very confusing because it's inauthentic. And so as a result, a lot of people have had children who genuinely don't want children.
Yes.
I mean, of all the horrible things, to be trapped, or people who get married because they think that they need to get married because that's what you do.
Yes.
And I've gotten to a point through this work where I carry almost none of those anymore, which is, it's a whole different way of living life. There's so much more freedom. It never occurs to me, should this be this or that? I have a podcast as well where I have a whole episode on like shoulding, because it's like you have this in your head. It's like, what should this be? That bowl should be over there. It's like, why can't the bowl, what's wrong with the bowl being there? And it's just this totally different way of seeing things. The negative voices in my head, the ones that like chatter at you all the time, mine used to be constant, and they are gone now.
Wow. If anyone wants to contact you, how do they find you?
The website is probably the best way, dominiedrew.com. I think that's probably the best place. Feel free to reach out. I do a free call with people who are interested in working so we can see if it's a good fit and if you're interested. And
even if you do international service, because you're based all the way in the United States,
yes,
does that apply to people around different parts of the globe?
absolutely. I work with people in US, Canada, Australia, people in the UK. So wherever you are, all of my work is online, even before COVID. And so it's just wildly and powerfully effective. People get, results within a matter of a few weeks, even if you've been dealing with the issue for decades. It's wild.
That is amazing. Thank you so much, Dominic, for joining me. I really appreciate your time. And I've learned in this short section of us having this conversation, I've learned a lot. And I'm sure anyone who listens to this will be finding this conversation really insightful and meaningful. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.